Hi there, how there. Welcome everyone to today's really cool live stream called How to Stop Fucking Yourself Over. You read the title right. Let's face it, don't we all throughout life, one way or another, screw ourselves over? Today, our special guest has helped an incredible 500,000 people answer and not do that very thing, which is screw yourself over. For the past 18 years, that's been his specialty. Well, we watched this short video clip. Ask yourself this hard question. What's stopping you from getting the life you desire and deserve? Okay, and we'll be right back.
What's stopping you? Are you too tired? Didn't get enough sleep? Don't have enough energy? Don't have enough time? Is that what's stopping you right now? Don't have enough money? Is that the thing? Or is the thing that's stopping you, you?
Excuses sound best to the person that's making them up. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Get off the pity potty. Wake your ass up. Awaken the beast inside. It's game on. It's go season. It's time for you to take advantage of the access and the resources that you have. If you want it, go get it.
Recognize the excuses are not valid. They're conjured up, they're fabricated, they're lies. And how do you stop the lies? You stop the lies with the truth. And the truth is, you have time. You have the skill, you have the knowledge and the support and the willpower and the discipline to get it done.
The fruit of everything good in life begins with a challenge. Everything is uphill that's worthwhile. And it's not going to come to you, and it's not going to fall in your lap, and it's not going to be something that, oh my God, it just was so simple. It's always going to be difficult.
If you want it, you gotta go get it.
This is your chance. This is your shot. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your place. This is your opportunity.
This is my time. This is my moment. Tomorrow. Ain't no such thing as tomorrow. We only got today. It's your dream. If you wanted to have it, get your butt up and make it happen. If you wanted to have it, rise and grind.
You still got work to do.
Woo! You guys as fired up as I am. I want to put on the gloves or go for a run or go for a swim or something. Don't you guys? Wow, that was inspiring, hey? So let's think about it. Let's get really raw and real here, gentlemen, today. Why is it that we, and I'm no exception, believe me, why are we our own worst enemy? Think about it. Why do so many of us, and I did for years, stay in a dead-end job? Well, actually, I made really good coin, but I hated every day that I got up. I hated it until finally I got up the nerve to quit my job and do what I love. But is it normal that 85% of people hate their job? That is an appalling statistic, isn't it? Why do we stay in unhappy, dead-end relationships or remain single and choke the chicken for the rest of our life, right? I mean, is that a happy life? Is that what you imagined your life would be? Why do we live in a body that we're ashamed of? That's my Achilles heel. I will admit it. It's my lifelong struggle. So please, in the poll, if you could be really raw and real with yourself, because only you know how you vote, answer the poll for us today. Are you completely living the life you desire and deserve right now? Please vote right now if you could, and we'll take a look at the results. Our special guest today is a bestseller of a book called Success Left a Clue. Robert shares the secrets of successful people and what they did, to build their dream life, and how you can too. Now, for those that stick around to the end today, Robert has a really cool, high-value surprise for quite a few of you guys. But as always, opportunity in life is limited, and it is a limited opportunity. So stay tuned to the end to be handsomely rewarded by Robert's generosity, or you'll miss out. So I would like to now introduce our special guest from his humble beginnings to financial freedom by age 32. Pretty cool, huh? Robert Riopel has passionately helped over 500,000 people around the world transform their life over the past 18 years. As I said, he's a best-selling author. He shared the stage with many, many greats. Just to name a few, Sir Richard Branson, who I hold in the highest regard. I'd love to meet him one day. The Dalai Lama, cool. Mr. Stephen Covey, 7 Habits, highly successful people. Jack Canfield, Chicken Soup, which is, I think, the largest selling book in the world, other than the Bible, is the Chicken Soup series. F.W. de Klerk, former state president of South Africa, that worked hand in hand with Nelson Mandela to end apartheid, just to name a few. It is with great pleasure I introduce to you my mentor and a dear friend, Mr. Robert Riopel. Robert is in the house. Welcome, buddy.
Hey, Joe, how you doing? You know, when you played that first opening video, I'm like, how did you get my workout video? Have you been watching me? And then all of a sudden I woke up from that dream. So
yeah, right. And then you woke up.
Yeah, I did. I woke up after that one. Dang, I got tired watching that. I was like, lifting those. I'm like, no, I'm going to go out and do more yard work.
Welcome, buddy. I mean, I was going to ask you, do you remember the last time you and I actually seen each other face to face? I was thinking about that the other day.
Oh, man. Well, that would have been in Calgary, wasn't it?
Maybe. Yeah. So I'm thinking of the second last time. That's right. We went out for a bite to eat. Yeah. The second last time I think was at Enlightened Warrior Training Camp, which is at the foot of Mount Garibaldi in Squamish, right? Camping out at the foot of a glacier. And one of the exercises there was walking across, 30 feet of white hot 1300 degree coals?
36 feet.
36 feet.
Yep.
Yeah, so you helped me do that. Thank you, buddy. And that was transformational. Absolutely.
Well, and that's why they call it a transformation exercise. And what's really interesting is because as soon as you're mentioning that, I know some of your listeners and viewers are going, yeah, but there's a trick to it. It can't be real. And, you know, I just want to let people know because my brother-in-law, who I actually taught to do fire walking, he is now the Guinness Book of World Record holder multiple times. He's broken the record again and again. He's over 500 feet. And to qualify for Guinness, the coals actually have to be between 1,100 and 1,700 degrees Fahrenheit just to qualify. So if you're thinking this is not real, is there some trick to it? Yeah, the trick is this. It's what empowers us. It's what holds us back. And that's why I love that video that you played in the beginning, because you are the person that's going to move you forward. You are the person that's going to hold you back. Your mind is one that's going to make the decisions of where you go. And so if it's not working, if your life's not working the way you want it to, let's work on this instead of going, well, I need another one of these, or I need one of these, or whatever it is that you think you have to do. You got to start up here.
Well said. I completely agree. Amazing. Robert, we would love to hear your story. I mean, most of our viewers probably don't know you. They may not, but love to hear, you know, how you became you.
Well, if I have to teach you about the birds and bees, Joe, I don't know.
Forward to age 5, let's say.
Oh, okay. Well, actually, born in an area where you and I met in British Columbia in Canada, and spent most of my life here in Alberta, where I live now. But with my family, I'm the youngest of 4, and raised that, look, your job is to find that job that's secure and pays you the most money, whether you like it or not. That's what you do to support your family. And I started working at a young age. You know, I've always been a young entrepreneur, doing the paper routes, doing snow shoveling, all of that. You know, Joe, I was thinking about something crazy the other day, and I'm like, who in their right mind would do this? But at the age of 11, you would never believe what my summer job was at the age of 11. Any guesses?
Delivering papers
Well, no, I've been doing that since
in
9.
Calgary.
Yeah. No,
Later.
at age 11 in Red Deer, Alberta, I actually 5 days a week for 8 hours a day, I was babysitting 3 kids younger than me. One was still in diapers, an infant, and then 2 toddlers. And I had to make lunch for them. I had to have dinner ready for when the parents came home. I did that for 5 days a week for the whole summer at age 11. And
Mr.
I look
Mom.
back, I look back now and I'm like, who in their right mind hires an 11-year-old to watch her 3 children 8 hours a day? It's crazy. But this is the way I was raised: is you work hard, you find that, and you have to really, 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 even if you hate the job, you do it to take care of your family. But also at 21, I'm being laid off from my 3rd job, and I'm going, I'm working hard, I'm staying loyal. What the hell's going on? And I realized then, that's when I realized I was just another number. Doesn't matter how big the company is. I was just another number. And at the time here in Alberta, excuse me, we were in the middle of one of our oil busts, so there was no real work. And I started delivering pizzas for Domino's Pizza because it was the only job I could find. I'm a newlywed. I want to take care of my family. And I started actually making more money and having more fun. I'm getting drive around, listen to music, meet people, and I'm making more money than I did in my real job. And because of my work ethic, it's something you and I are going to be talking about today. You've brought it up a few times when you and I just have our conversations. I am not afraid to put the work in. And that's going to be a theme here because, look, all the listeners, it's not going to just happen for you. You've got to put the work in. Let's be very clear. And we're going to give you some hints on that, on how to do that efficiently. And so because of my work ethic, I became a manager. My wife became my assistant manager. We started working open and close 7 days a week. We know how to work hard. And a year and a half in, we were faced with that kind of first turning point of, we're about to be laid off again, both of us. Because my franchisee announced, I'm getting out of Domino's Pizza. I'm selling my 2 stores. I went into panic mode, Joe, and I'm sitting there going, oh, crap. Now, not only am I going to lose my job, my wife's going to lose her job. And my answer was, we need to talk to the other franchisees here in the city and find out who needs a manager. And my wife, Roxanne, who she let me just, get it off my chest and complain and bitch and, what the hell. And when I was done, she's like, so are you done? And I'm like, what do you mean am I done? She goes, well, first of all, wrong answer. I'm like, what do you mean wrong answer? She goes, not only are we not going to go to the other franchisees, why don't we just buy this store? We're qualified to be franchisees. I thought she went off her rocker. I'm like, because we don't have any money? That's why we don't buy this store. Being the smart ass that I am. My wife, youngest of 5, raised by a single mother. She was taught you find a way. And we decided, let's see if we can figure out how to buy a business if we have no money. And Joe, we made a lot of mistakes. But we learned every time something didn't go right, and we didn't give up. And it took us about 4 months to start having the confidence, because now we knew what to say, what not to say. Like the example, and you being a business guy, you know this. If you're buying another business, don't go to a bank or someone and say, we're buying the company. You tell them that you're starting your own company, you're buying the assets. Because the moment they heard that we're wanting to buy the company, they're like, and that means you get all the liabilities, a lot of headaches. No, we're not going to touch you. So we learned how to, and then we also had the confidence to go to our own bank. And we ended up not getting the funding for our store. We actually got 100% funding for both the stores he had for sale. And we became franchisees at the age of 23.
Down.
Yeah, right?
No money down.
And it was like, oh, we've got it made. We're now franchisees. We knew how to run a pizza store, but we didn't know how to run a business. And I think you'll agree, right? World of difference between the two.
Absolutely.
But because of our tenacity, we were just too tenacious to quit. When we finally decided to hire accountants, and this is one of the things I want your listeners to get, is find the professionals that can help you. One of the things that I love that you do is you're sitting there, and I think you gave me a statistic yesterday, trying to find a great relationship and someone to marry, through this system. Doing it on your own is coming in 3 or 4 times more expensive than having your services to show them how to do it. And I can verify, when we were trying to do 7 days a week working and do our own accounting, it was destroying us because we didn't think we could afford an accountant. And when all of a sudden, 2 years in, the government's going, hello, you own a business? There's these things called financials that you're supposed to send us. Out of desperation, we finally hired accountants. And when they got all of our paperwork caught up, they looked at us and they go, how did you two make it? You should have gone bankrupt many times. Our philosophy, though, was, well, if there's money in the bank, we must be doing okay. And again, wrong answer. And when we started seeing the keeping score and knowing that, how to really track how we were doing, we started doing pretty well. And we started making more of that money. But our mindset, both coming from poor families, was set for, hey, as money comes in, you spend it. And by the time we were franchisees for 8 years, we're $150,000 in personal debt, going down quickly. And that's where we were introduced to personal development. We did a 3-day powerful course that I think I've taught you because I went on to train it. And that's right.
Mind intensive, yeah.
In those 3 days, we learned why we were in debt. More importantly, we learned to take responsibility for our debt. I was good at blaming others. And I don't know if any of your listeners have ever blamed anyone for things that are really, their responsibility. But I was good at blaming others for losing my money and our money. And when the third thing we learned was specific skills. And so we took the action. We left that weekend. And I don't want people thinking I'm special in any way. Probably the only reason, because here's a statistic. Only 3 to 6% of people in North America will actually implement something they've been taught. 3 to 6%. The rest go, oh, that was nice. Why hasn't it changed my life? You got to do something with it. And the only reason we probably took the action we did is we were so stressed out financially, we knew something had to change. And we started doing the work, and next thing you know, we go from over $150,000 in debt, personal debt, to all of a sudden completely financially free 9 months later at the age of 32. And that's kind of was the first real, a second turning point, because from employee to franchisee was a first one. And I want your listeners and viewers to realize we're all going through turning points. And we'll probably talk about more from my journey as we go through today.
So can I just repeat what I heard you say? You went from franchisee owner to financially free in 9 months.
In 9 months. And we were over $150,000 in personal debt, not including the business debt, personal debt. And we were able to create the financial freedom at the age of 32. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. So my big question is, how did you do that?
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, it was being willing to make the tough decisions and quit coddling ourselves. Now, if you look at my name and you see the logo behind me, it's 3 R's, Robert Raymond Riopel, RRR. And those R's also stand for something else. The first one stands for I keep things real. I'm not going to sit there and just give you the fluff and oh, yay, your life should be good if you do this. I'm going to tell you what's good, what's bad, what's ugly about what it takes. So my wife and I sat down and we said, okay, what we've been doing is not working. We just learned some valuable skills. And the first thing we looked at is we knew, because we'd never heard of that thing called passive income, money working instead of you. We had a lot of expenses. Oh, we were living, keeping up with the Joneses. We had a lot of expenses and we had no passive income. So there's no way we'd ever get financial freedom. So we sat down and we said, what don't we need right now? Sure, we may want it, but we don't need it. And we looked at all the expenses we had. And one thing is because we were actually living in the city where you and I met. We were living in now what's called West Kelowna Estates, or back then was West Bank, where one of our stores was in BC. And because we had a house on the lake, we had to have a boat. Now, I'm going to be real with your listeners. Our house was on the lake. We had a mobile home, 600 square feet, in a mobile home park on the lake. So we had a house on the lake, and so we had a boat. And we had all the expenses of the boat. And the stupid thing was, our busy season for that store, being a resort community, was summertime, boating season. So we were always in the store. Our boat sat in the driveway looking pretty, never getting used, but we had all the expenses. And hey, we're successful. We have a boat. So we sold the boat. We had 2 vehicles because that's what successful people do. We were both in the store together all the time. Why did we need 2 vehicles? So we sold a vehicle. And we dramatically brought down our expenses so that we really, again, we started thinking that long term, not instant gratification. What do I want now? Long term. And as we dropped those, we started learning about passive income at the same time. And it only took 9 months for us to hit the magic equation of financial freedom, which is when your passive income is greater than your expenses. Now, notice, Joe, I didn't say we were wealthy. I said we were financially free. I didn't say we were debt free. I said we were financially free because we had enough passive income to actually cover our month-to-month expenses, so we didn't have to work. And that gave us a financial freedom, and it also gave us the real magic.
To
and
change,
I want everybody
to do something different. Yeah.
Yes, but this was something unexpected, and I want your listeners to really hear this as well, because I know you can relate because you've gone through this financial struggles, wealth, change, great, all that. What we did not expect is before, when we were financially struggling, we were putting 50, 60, 70 hours a week into our business just trying to earn a living. We were always working. And the financial freedom ended up giving us the most valuable tip, which was time freedom. All of a sudden now we didn't have those 50, 60, 70 plus hours a week to be working in the stores. We have freed up all that time. And Joe, if I was to sit there and say, hey, I'm aerodynamic, I'm a genie in front of you right now, I'm going to give you 40 hours a week extra to do with whatever you want. Could you think of some stuff to do with that time?
Priceless. Priceless.
It is. And so we committed then 10 hours of that time that we just freed up, and we committed it to creating wealth, and also the wealth creation became so much easier. So here's the message to all of your listeners and viewers. Most people, one of the reasons they get overwhelmed, and I'm going to put it into terms of, dating, finding a great relationship, finding a wife. They want to go from where they are to having the instant, fantastical marriage, and they want to get there right away. And they wonder why they're stressed out on the journey. And so to me, for us, instead of going from financial debt to wealth, we actually got the financial freedom first, which gave us the time freedom, which lessened the stress, which then allowed us to focus on creating the wealth. So in terms of the relationships, instead of going, hey, here I am and I want to have a great relationship, I want you to step back and say, what can I do now to put myself in the position that when that relationship's there, I can actually have the time to let it flourish. And that's why utilizing what you guys do, utilizing your systems, utilizing how the step-by-step way of doing it, because if you're trying to do it on your own, you're going to get overwhelmed. And that's what most people do. But you free up that time by allowing the systems and what works work, and watch what that can do for you to create the life you really want.
That's an awesome point, Robert. Success doesn't just appear like that. There's work, and there's a formula for success, right? There's clues, as you said.
Exactly.
I want to ask you one burning question I have. So we both have the same mentor, Harv Ecker. And Harv always used to, through all of his training career, he was famous for this claim: give me 5 minutes one-on-one with you, talking to you, and I can predict your entire financial future for the rest of your life. That is a crazy claim. My big question is, between gentlemen, is it really true?
Oh, absolutely. And that's what I've done for years.
How can you do it with 5 minutes with anyone, and how accurate is it? I just have to ask you a few questions, because I can do it now as well. I ask you a few questions about your financial life, and that'll tell me everything I need to know. What's your income? What's your debt? What kind of toys do you have? What kind of expenses? How were you brought up? How were you raised? Were you poor? Were you middle class? Were you rich? And by asking the questions, I can identify what's called your blueprint, which in this case is your financial blueprint. And every single person has one. And that blueprint, more than anything and everything else, is what will determine your financial success. So once I identify the blueprint, I can tell you about your life financially, just like that. It really is crazy when you think about it, that we develop by age whatever, maybe age 12, age 5, we develop our financial blueprint, our love blueprint. In other words, another name is a success preset or a set point, right? A level of love and money that what we're worthy of? What is it? By the age
Well,
of 5. That's crazy.
it's all of that. Yeah, because it's what you hear, what you see, and what you experience that's been created. So think about this: the gentlemen that are looking for great relationships right now, no matter what age you are at, listening to us right now, you are actually making your relationship decisions based on what you heard, saw, and experienced in your childhood. And even though you're a grown ass man, you're still making decisions as a child and wondering why you're frustrated or why some things seem to be easier and others aren't. And so if we were to do a deep dive back into what your childhood was like at that age and what you saw about what relationships were, we'd be able to tell you why this is working and why that's not. Be able to sit there. So yes, I know the question you can ask is, can you do the same thing financially and figure out for a love blueprint? Hell yeah.
Exactly.
Hell yeah, you can. And so as an example, my parents, they met. 6 weeks later, they got married. And they were married for 42 years when my mom passed away. So I learned how to do relationships from them at a very young age. Now, on the other side, I'm the youngest of 4. My sister, well, let's start with my brother. My sister is the oldest, and 2 brothers. The brother that's closest to me in age, he's been through 2 marriages. My next brother, my oldest brother, he's been through 3. My sister is on her 8th marriage. And I learned how not to do relationships from them. Last weekend, my wife and I celebrated our 33rd wedding anniversary.
Woo, high five. That's amazing. Happy anniversary. 33.
So people go, well, you're all 4 from the same family. What the hell? See, I was the youngest. I saw things different than what they saw them. I didn't see some of the behind the scenes as my parents were going through struggles because I was too young. So my vision, my goggles of what was really going on behind the scenes, I was living a more protected kind of view of that. So my perception was different. Same thing for people. And look, I'm the youngest. I'm the most successful out of all of my family by far. And people go, well, what's the difference? You're all raised the same way. But it's also how we experience it, plus mix in who we are as a person. And, both my brothers entered the military. Why? Because they got their girlfriends pregnant at 18 and 17. And that was the answer, to take care of their family. I had a chance to become an officer in the Navy because that was, hey, my brothers did this. Why wouldn't I do it? But at 16, I had the opportunity because I was in what was called cadets in Canada. I was able to do 3 months on board a Canadian Armed Forces ship as an actual, going through and learning every skill. And I walked off that ship and I went, yep, I know I got a scholarship to go to the Royal Roads, which is the academy for officers in the Navy. But thank you, I'm going to respectfully turn it down. I do not want to be in the Navy. Because I knew if I wanted to have any kind of relationship in my life, that route, I watched every port we hit. Every guy was going out finding who's the easiest girl. And look, my brother, I'll tell you, he's a dog. He in his first 3 years in the Navy, he spent 3 months at home. Every port he entered, there was women waiting on the jetty for him. And his opening line, and he'd walk up to the first one, want to fuck? That was his opening line. And he wondered why his marriage didn't last. So we all have these things going on inside of us that determine our course. And we can either sit there and try to deny them and put them aside, or we can say, I'll be real with myself. This works, this doesn't. So the stuff that's not working, how do I make some changes? And then buckle down and get the work done. And the easiest way to do that is find the systems, find what works, and do it. Quit trying to reinvent the goddamn wheel.
And that's great. That's my second question. Great lead in. How do we change our preset, our success for money and love preset or blueprint? That's the mother of all questions, I think. How do we do it?
Mentorship. I'm a big believer. In my book, out of the 6 steps, the second step is find a mentor or someone to model from. And quit, all through school, we're taught, do it on your own, figure it out. Because if you look at what someone else is doing, that's cheating. If you copy someone else, that's cheating. And we're reprimanded, we're, disciplined for being cheaters. But the moment you get into the real world, the easiest way for success in anything is find someone who's done what you want to do, find out how they did it, and copy it. But yet our mind has been so ingrained with, but that's cheating. So all of a sudden, and this is one of the clues in my book, which is, we try and reinvent the wheel and we wonder why we get frustrated. So my clue is if you want to reinvent the wheel, do it later. Do it later. Find the system, follow the system, use the system, get the success that the system has given. And once you have the success, if you still want to make adjustments and change it, then change it, because at least you have the success. But what do most people do? Well, and they don't even know. It's subconscious. They're going, I can't do the system like this. I've got to make it better. So they start reinventing, and they wonder why they get frustrated, and it explodes on them. And again, I'm going to bring it back to the amazing service that you provide. You know what works. A, B, C, D, marriage.
Funny how that works. I mean, I completely concur with you. I mean, the statistics even on mentorship and success, if you look at successful people, what is it? Something like 80% of successful people have a mentor or multiple mentors, something like that, eh?
Oh yeah, and I believe in multiple mentors. Multiple.
Yeah.
But Joe, that means my ego. I have to keep my ego in check, because that means I have to admit there's something I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Look, gentlemen, the boys don't cry, all that shit that we heard as kids, put it aside. And I'll tell you, women love a vulnerable man. Not a person who's always, but a person who knows what they want, has a passion, but is willing to sit there and go, you know what? That messed up. I made a mistake, or I need help here. That women find that so sexy. Just saying. Hashtag, just saying.
Hashtag sexy. So Robert, let's dive into your 7 top success clues, as you put it. I'll play a short video for each one, and then I'll let you lead in. Okay, the first one is from the infamous Steve Harvey, and we'll be right back.
You overcome fear with your dreams. I want y'all to listen to me closely now. You overcome fear with your dreams. Steve, how my dreams gonna make me overcome my fear? Because I want you to listen to me. Because the dream is everything. The Bible says a man without a dream or a vision shall perish. The dream is everything. See, if you have no dreams and visions, you will perish. You will die in fear. You will die sitting somewhere in fear without dreams and visions. Dreams are the counterpoint to all fear. I want you to dream so big. I want you to want something so incredible. I want you to dream of having something that's so spectacular that if it doesn't happen, you would be miserable.
You would be miserable. When I watched that, I got to be honest. You're talking about sensitive men. I was a sensitive guy. I'm going to share with everybody.
What do you mean was? What do you mean was?
Am. Why I started Match Guaranteed was to fulfill my own dream. My biggest dream, because Rob and I grew up in the Okanagan, lived, he knows I had the houses on the lake and on the golf course and the 500 SL and, vacations around the world. And you know what? I wasn't happy. I understood that if I don't have a relationship and a marriage where we have children, if I don't get to rear children, whether they're my own or I'm just, their father I'm their father, but they're not my DNA, that's okay. That was a dream that I realized, once I realized it before I was divorced. But after I was divorced, I understood, hey, I got a second chance. I got a second chance at making my dreams come true. And that, when Steve Harvey talks about that hairy, audacious dream that you'll be miserable. I knew if I was on my deathbed, I would die in regret. I'm just barely keeping it together right now because I didn't want anything else in life other than a happy marriage with children. And at age 50, that window was closed basically for me in Canada. It's just that the way it is in our country. But in Ukraine, as I found out, that window, it's still ajar. I won't say it's wide open, but it's still, there's an opportunity. And I went to Ukraine to fulfill my dream. And you know what? This is the happiest life I've ever dreamed of. I'm living it.
Yeah. Yep.
So to me, that power of the dream, it starts with that. I completely concur. Love to hear your take.
Yeah, and I'm going to say something that one of my mentors, there's that word again, Les Brown. And for anybody who knows Les Brown, here's a cool thing. He started as a mentor. He became a friend. And then I became a mentor to him as well. How the heck did that happen? And what he says is this. It's not the problem is not that we set our dreams and our goals too high and we miss them. The problem is we set them too low and we hit them. You see, we've been taught, be realistic. You can't go for this. You can't, come on. You don't have the right education, whatever it is. And if you look over my shoulder, there's a book there by two amazing gentlemen. Mark Victor Hansen, the other co-creator of Chicken Soup for the Soul, who became a great friend as well as he started as a mentor of mine. And the other gentleman in that picture on that book is Art Linkletter. And this gentleman, when I met him, was 92 years young. And if you look at who he is, great friend of Walt Disney, media icon, all of this, 92 when I met him. I met the two of them together at an event I was hosting back in 2007. And the two of them, when they met for the first time at this event, they just hit it off. And they decided to collaborate on a book called Make the Rest of Your Life the Best of Your Life. And you're talking to a man that was already in his late 50s, Mark Victor Hansen, and Art Linkletter, 92 years of age. And they were still looking at making the rest of their life the best of their life. So it doesn't matter what age you are. Set those dreams so high that you really go for them. But Joe, Robert, what if I set my dreams high and I don't manage to get my dreams? What will people think of me?
Fail forward fast, right?
And who freaking cares what people think of you? I set such huge dreams. And I don't achieve them all, Joe. Not yet. But you know what's cool? Because I set such huge dreams, I'm way ahead of 80+% of the world that don't set dreams at all or only set small ones.
Absolutely.
So dream big.
Since the last time you and I were together, I've failed at least 5 projects, if I had to count them, and 2 of them really big that were expensive and failed. I love Napoleon Hill's quote, always aim, how's it go? Always aim for the stars, because if you miss, you'll at least hit the moon. But if you aim for the moon and you miss, you hit a cow pie.
and that's exactly it. And so really dream big. And I love your, like you say, fail faster forward, and because you learn. Your greatest lessons come from what didn't work. So my daily, yearly goal with my business, my life, is I want to fail 3 times faster.
Absolutely.
I want to find
People
out.
are afraid to fail.
Oh my goodness!
If you don't fail, you don't succeed.
Yeah, and again, why? It's because in school that F was a bad thing. Yeah. You failed. You didn't study hard enough, and we are meant to feel like we were bad for trying something different or thinking different. And so, but the most successful people in the world are the people that are willing to fail and are willing to just then pick themselves up and do it again. My wife last night actually sent me a great quote, or not a quote, it was the whole history timeline of Abraham Lincoln. Cool. And all of the failures, all of the setbacks, all of the times, his first wife, they get married and she dies that same year. He runs for office. He doesn't win. He goes bankrupt. He borrows money to start another business, goes bankrupt again. Meets the woman of his dreams. They have 4 children. 3 die in birth. And then his son dies a little later, and his wife dies again. And he still goes for it. And when he finally becomes president, and all of a sudden he wins his 2nd term, and then he gets assassinated, he had so many, he was one of the greatest, now known as one of the greatest presidents for the U.S. But when you look at the backstory and the adversity he was willing to go through, any one thing would have stopped so many people dead in their tracks. But he just kept going next.
Edison, 10,000 failures. It's probably one of the most failed successful men. Let's jump into a question. We've got a vulnerable question on the table right now. Donald is asking, after a divorce, it's really difficult to move on. So
what's the question?
It's a statement, but I think the question is, how do I move on? If I could put words in Donald's mouth.
And Donald, if that's the kind of the question, look, yes, it is. You're right. It is. But the question is, how long are you going to hold on to that saying it's difficult? How long are you going to use that as an excuse not to? How long are you going to sit there and say, I'm going to choose to be miserable because I went through a divorce? And it's like a bankruptcy. And here's something a friend of mine told me years ago when I was in such financial desires and I was stressed out. And I was like, because it was drummed in, bankruptcy is so bad, and I wouldn't even consider it. And he looked at me and said, Robert, it's a tool. I'm like, what do you mean it's a tool? He said, if you're at the point where you're so drowning that you can't even move forward and you're going to go back for the next 15 years backwards because you're trying to overcome it, it's a tool that allows you to get a fresh start. And the moment I even considered it, all of a sudden that I put a different spin on it, all of a sudden things started working better in my favor, Joe. And all of a sudden I wasn't stressed out about the dogma of what if I had to. What will people think of me again? And one of the biggest pressures people put on themselves about divorce. Look, I haven't gone through it, but I've watched my siblings go through it several times. So I have a little experience that way. And their biggest holdback every time was the shame they put themselves through because it didn't work for whatever reason. Whether it was their fault, your fault, both fault, there's always the three sides to the story. Their side, your side, and somewhere in the middle where the truth is. Plain and simple. So the thing is look, I want you to make a decision that, okay, I got a divorce. It's not good, bad, or otherwise. It just is what it is. And do I choose to be happy and then move forward? And if the answer is yes, then take one step. One step and watch the miracles happen.
I think that's brilliant advice, Robert. One step. It's like overwhelming thinking about, to get through this grief, right? He adds 12 years, married 24 years and now divorced 12 years. I think he wrote just now. How to get through this, how to break through it, one step at a time. Every success happens one step at a time.
Yeah.
Let's go on to your clue number 2. Let's play a short video clip and you'll be back to explain it to us.
Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work hard on your job, you can make a living, which is fantastic. If you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune, which is super fantastic. Success is something you attract by becoming an attractive person. Success is not something you pursue. Success is something you attract by the person you become, by becoming an attractive person.
Brilliant, huh?
It is. And here, that is the key right there. See, one of the things people go, Robert, how is it you've done what you've done? You've personally trained over 500,000 people. You've done over $100 million in sales from the stage. How is it that you're able to do that? And the number one key is, as much as I'm on the stage, Joe, I'm a student in the audience of other trainers. Because the moment I think I know everything, I'm done. And so it goes to that universal principle that says your wealth can only grow to the extent that you do. Well, guess what? Your love, your relationships, your health, your happiness can only grow to the extent that you do. So one of the things I work the hardest on is this guy right here. And not being critical, not being brutal. There's 3 questions I'm always asking myself and my teams, whether I'm doing a project or just day-to-day life. And all of a sudden, because I think that everything, well, I'll ask like this to you, Joe. Have you heard the saying that everything happens for a reason?
Oh, absolutely. And it's true, 100%.
So you believe it, right?
100%.
Did you know that's not the whole thing?
Not the whole what?
Saying. That's not the whole quote.
I didn't know. What is the whole quote?
Yeah. The whole quote is everything happens for a reason, and that reason is there to serve you.
Oh, yes. 100%.
And see, when you understand that, then it turns to curiosity. Why did I go through this divorce?
Absolutely.
Why did that happen to me? Why is it I'm struggling finding a relationship that really resonates, that I can really get behind? Why is it I'm struggling? And I think you were telling me that one thing that the women of the Ukraine really get passionate about and love is not necessarily the physical age, stature, looks of the guy. It's do they have a passion? Do they have a purpose, right? And that makes someone, so sexy. It's incredible, right? In all directions. And so when you ask the question of why did I go through this, then there's three questions I'm constantly going through my head. And this, I want your listeners and viewers to understand this. Comes in my head with no emotion, no criticism, no judgment, especially with a team. First of all, what worked? Okay, I went through the divorce. Okay, but what worked in that marriage? And then she's point form. This worked, this worked, this worked, this worked, this worked. Second question, what did not work? Now, this is the one that's really important. Don't put the blame in or anything. It's like, okay, well, this didn't work. We didn't have consistent, we didn't have a great sex life. I don't think I communicated well. I got angry quickly. I always thought they were at fault, whatever it is. And you put it down just to see it in list form. No blame, no judgment, no criticism. And then the third question is, what can I do different? Because, what does Einstein say? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting the same results. So you can have the greatest match and the person in front of you that is the most amazing person, and all of a sudden you get married, and all of a sudden a few years later you're getting divorced again. You're going, why did it happen again? You probably did the same things. So growing yourself to be able to adjust. Quit being so freaking stubborn. Quit being that, no, this is the only way. And this is where that vulnerability thing comes in, right? So what worked, what didn't work, what can I do different? That's how you evolve to really be able to take your life. So even at 53, I'm still working on me, and I will until the day I die.
Awesome. And I want to just be transparent and say, that preparing for this live stream has motivated myself. And I needed a swift kick in the ass, to be very frank. So talking about work on you, and I want to create accountability for all viewers so you can ask me in the future, Joe, are you getting your lazy ass active? Because you know what? I'm a proud father of two little girls, age 4 and age 9. My wife is 20 years my junior. I got to keep up. And if I don't, well, that's not going to be a good result.
So,
right?
Joe,
I want to be there for them. Yeah.
I'm going to go into coaching mode right now, because look what you just did to set yourself up for sabotage.
Okay.
I've got to get my lazy ass up. Look how you tagged yourself as being lazy. You are not a lazy man, but look what the mind said. I'm in the shape I am because, no, listen close. I'm in coach mode. So I want you to flow with this, because notice the defense that came up, right? Because now your mind's justifying, but this and this. No, your mind said, how do I stop Joe? Well, let's take him as lazy ass. So Joe, what works in your day-to-day for your health? Put some points down. What doesn't work? With
Swimming.
No judgment, right? So swimming works. What doesn't work? Probably consistency.
Working too
Doing
much.
it on yeah. So okay, that doesn't work. So what can I do different? You know what? Maybe on your calendar, you schedule in that this time, this day, I go for a walk, I go for a swim. We take the girls out to the beach. We do something, and you put it on your calendar, and you make a little adjustment. Instead of the mind going, I got to get my lazy ass up. That's how your mind controls you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, sir. I will take that in. And I take that critique. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Next, Robert Clue. I've got the notes here, so I'll play the video, and then Rob will come back and explain why it's so important.
True desire in the heart, that itch that you have, whatever it is you want to do, that thing that you want to do to help others and to grow and to make money, that desire, that itch, that's God's proof to you, sent beforehand already to indicate that it's yours. Aspire to make a difference.
Wow. That's purpose right there. Plain and simple. Look at how much you glow because you now have two girls that are watching you for guidance. So you've got that motivation. You're you're aspiring to impact their lives and help their lives be even greater. That's the thing. So what is it in your life that would really motivate you to move forward and take that? Because look, we know life sucks sometimes. So what is it that will get you out of bed? What is it that, because and here's the thing. one of the things that I used to struggle with, and I used to demean myself over. I am a world-class procrastinator. I am. And I used to battle that, and which would just put me further into procrastination. But all of a sudden, one day I had one of those one-handed claps. Joe, do you remember what a one-handed clap is? I would have showed this to you years ago.
No.
That aha moment. And I realized, Robert, procrastinator is part of who you are. So instead of battling it and trying to deny it, just acknowledge that it is part of you. And how can you work with it instead of beating yourself up over it? And I realized that, yeah, you know what? Given the opportunity, because I haven't had to work for money for 20 years now. And so if I have the opportunity to sleep in, guess what I'm doing? I'm sleeping in because I will procrastinate. But the moment I commit to someone else and I make a commitment, that accountability thing, all of a sudden I'm up and going. So I, on purpose, in my calendar, I structure my coaching calls, recordings for interviews, business calls, first thing in the morning, because I know the moment I make a commitment, I'm up and my day started. So I'm embracing instead of resisting who I am. And so what motivates you to take that one more step? Because when you get knocked down, and life will knock you down, what gets you up? And let's talk about a turning point, because this is another turning point that happened in my life. I was on average flying for the last 8 years, from 2012 to 2020, on average 200,000 miles a year, flying around the world, impacting lives. March 10th, 2020, I'm on my way back from a 3-day training I just finished doing in India. Hopped on a 16-hour flight in Mumbai. By the time I landed in Toronto, 16 hours later, the world had changed. And all of a sudden we hit the tarmac, right? We land, they hold us on the tarmac, they won't let us come up to the gate. They're holding. When they finally do, there's 2 border crossing agents at the actual door of the plane, checking passports as we come off the plane. And luckily I was able to come home for my connecting flight. And all of a sudden my world changed. All of a sudden we get locked down for the 2 weeks because I've been in another country. All of a sudden it's what's this COVID thing? My mind's going crazy. I went into victim role for a couple weeks. I physically made myself ill thinking I had this COVID thing. And my wife, who refused to isolate me, she wanted to take care of me, she got physically ill. We couldn't be awake for more than an hour at a time. This is how powerful our minds were. It took us over a week and a half to get the test and then get the result a week later to show that we didn't have it. We had done it to ourselves. And all of a sudden it was like, holy crap, because now all my live events are being canceled. I'm watching a huge revenue stream vanish like that and going into the oh shit mode. And all of a sudden, when my wife and I realized what we were doing to each other, 2 powerful words that I use in my life. 2 powerful words. What's next? Now, the moment we asked that, all of a sudden possibilities started opening up. And this beautiful property we live on today, we had bought it 3 years earlier with the intention of 5, 6, 7 years down the road, building our own training center. So instead of me flying so much, my students could come to me. So my wife said, well, you're home. We don't know how long this is going to last. Why don't we build a center? And of course, it's like all the what if scenarios come in. Well, what if this goes on for years? What if that revenue's not there? What if it's more expensive? And all of a sudden, 2 more powerful words come in that we use in our life all the time. And those words are all in. We made a decision to go all in. So in relationships, what's next? Okay, you've gone through divorce, you've gone through whatever, you're in whatever part of your life. So what's next? Well, I'd love to have a relationship. And Match Guarantee says there's amazing women for me in the Ukraine that are looking for amazing men. So you know what? I'm going to go all in. I'm going to do this and get out of your own way. And watch what happens. Now I'm doing the interview from my 2,400 square foot addition that we added onto the back of our house, where I've got my office. I've got a 1,500 square foot training center with a 900 square foot prep area on the other side. And 7 figures in revenue over the last 2.5 years, gone. So I've had to do a total reinvent. Mm-hmm. Or I could have sat there and played the victim and went, oh, the world changed.
Do or die, baby.
That's it.
Yep.
So what's next and all in. That's what having that dream and that motivation. That's why you dream big. So the motivation gets you up on those days where you dragged yourself down.
Absolutely. I'm dying to ask you this question. In your experience,
I didn't do it.
In your experience, Robert, is financial success, is it easier for guys that are married or single? You know, guys that are successful, are they usually married or single?
No, I've seen financial success start off as marriage, go to divorce because it went to people's heads and all of a sudden became about the money. I've seen financially successful single people. I don't think there's any real, I don't think that's an indicator to financial success, whether you're single or married. I don't think it plays in there at all. Okay. That's just my opinion.
Okay, fair enough. And what about, okay. Interesting. For myself,
but think about this, Joe. If you're not happy, it doesn't matter whether you have money or not. If you're not happy, it doesn't matter whether you're in a relationship or not. It's the same thing. So choose to be happy. You know, this is actually something I learned when I was in India for the very first time. I'm sitting there, I finished an event, and I want to do some shopping for my wife. And so my partners there say, well, we're going to give you one of our staff. She's going to, and our driver, she'll help you find the store. She'll help you navigate. And I'm a curious person. I love to get to know people. And I'm talking to Shveta is her name. And I come around to, so what is it you do at the company? And she said, well, right now, and this struck me as interest. She goes, right now I'm in the marketing department. And I'm like, right now? I said, do you enjoy it? She goes, oh, I do right now. I said, you keep saying right now. What does that mean? She goes, oh, well, I'm getting married next year. So I'm then going to become a stay-at-home mom. And me being the Westerner, not even thinking about it, said, oh, how did you meet your fiance? And she goes, I haven't met him yet. I'm like, pardon me? She goes, and it was an arranged marriage. She goes, we'll meet for the first time at our engagement party. And then the second time we'll meet is when we get married. And I said, I'm so sorry. I said, that's my dumb ass, you know, just being a Westerner. I hope I didn't offend you. She goes, oh, no. I said, I don't know much about arranged marriages. Can I ask you some questions? And she said, absolutely. I said, how does that work? I said, you don't know them. Does it eventually turn into love? How, you know, what really goes on there? And she goes, she goes, in India, we have love marriages and we have arranged marriages. And she said, sometimes they do. She goes, I said, so how do you prepare? How do you handle something like that? She goes, well, I go with the advice my mother gave me. And I'm like, what's that? She said, choose to be happy. Mm-hmm. Because if you go in hoping the happiness will happen, you're always going to be looking for the reasons it's not. But if you choose to be happy, that's going to impact the way you live. And I'm like, I was blown away, Joe. I'm like, wow. And this was one of the most upbeat girls I've ever met. And she's just loving life. And her whole thing is, I'm going to choose to be happy. Because imagine if she went into the relationship going, I don't want to marry this guy. Oh my God, why did I get put together with him? I had no choice. Do you think that's going to be a happy marriage? No, because that stress and strain is going to come in, and not right at the beginning. But because she went into it going, I choose to be happy, if it turned into a love marriage and love relationship, that probably has a big impact that it might eventually become that. Or maybe it already has. Who knows? So choose to be happy.
Yeah, I completely agree. Happiness definitely comes first. Absolutely. If you're not happy, you cannot be happy in a marriage. You have to be happy yourself. If you're unhappy, you will in fact attract somebody that's also unhappy, and you'll be unhappy together.
That's right. That's exactly it.
I just have a little bit of a different opinion. I don't know what the stats are on married versus single success, but I guess the main point is, I guess what everybody has to ask themselves is, if you're successful single, are you happy? Are you your happiest person single? Or do you miss having a significant other, a wife in your life? I guess that's maybe.
Well, and again, it comes back to that inner programming. Some people, they're okay with being alone with themselves. Whereas other people, my sister, 8 marriages. Why? Because she couldn't handle not being married to someone. Mm-hmm. And she was always looking for Prince Charming. Mm-hmm. And so she's a person that just cannot be by herself. So she would never be happy either way, unless there was someone in her life. But there's people that are the happiest when they are alone. So I don't know if there's a science, and I've never studied it. Again, I love that you have your perspective. I have my perspective. This could be a great conundrum that maybe some research is done over. Who knows?
Part 2. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to your clue number 4. And we'll be right back.
I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nothing. Nelson Mandela said, "There is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living."
I love that. I love that. And that's one of the quotes that I live by, is what people don't realize, Joe, is when you're interacting with other people, one of two things is always happening. You're either affecting them with your greatness, lifting them up, or you're infecting them with your mediocrity.
Oh, good one.
And I believe one of the biggest issues on the world today is way too many people are living mediocre lives. They're just okay with being mediocre. And so having that fire, having that passion, and in all areas of your life, again, your health, your mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, and financial, is really having that passion and saying, because it's not even verbal that impacts people. Your energy is impacting the people around you no matter what. So the question is, are you affecting or infecting? And if you're infecting, that's not giving other people permission. And I'm going to bring it back to your family and your girls. It's not going to be what you say to them out of their life. They're going to be watching you. And they're going to watch you in the relationship with your wife. That's going to ingrain and imprint on them more than anything you ever see or say. Absolutely. And so if they're seeing the two of you being happy and matching other people up to have happy relationships, they're going to them, it's like, this is the reality. This is possibility. But if they're sitting there seeing that you're not happy, they're going to go, oh, marriages just aren't meant to be happy. That's going to imprint on them as well. So what are you doing? And this is, again, why it's so important you work on you, that if you want to be happy, then do the work to be happy. Not happiness is once I have $1 million. No, today, what can I do to be happy? Well, you know what? Today, I'm just going to be happy because I went and I did a walk, or I went and I did a swim. I went and I had a great meeting. I said hello to someone. I smiled to someone. Find the smallest things to be happy about and watch how that habit of happiness just naturally ingrains.
Completely agree with you. And for me, I find my biggest responsibility in life right now is the example I leave for my children. So I think about that for everything. My relationship with my wife, that we're not having quarrels, or if we do it silently, not in front of the children.
Okay. I'm sorry, I got to cut you off on that one, because you see, when I grew up, I never saw my parents fight ever. And it's just what you said. It wasn't until I was talking to my siblings, as adults, because I'm like, because here's what ingrained in me, John. This is it's a devil's two-sided sword, but I'm just going to tell you my experience. So my wife and I have always had a good relationship, but when it came to fights, arguments, disagreements, I shut down, and she'd get upset because in her family, raised by a single mother, she was taught, if you're unhappy, you say what's on your mind, you get it worked out. In my family, I witnessed my parents never fighting about anything. So in my life, my reality was, you don't fight. That's bad. I remember coming home one day, I walked in the door and I saw my parents fighting. I instantly got emotional because I thought fighting leads to divorce. And I went out of the house crying, going, my parents are going to get a divorce. And because that was my reality, because I never saw them fight. And I don't say this to put pressure. I'm going to give people advice on how to handle this, because now people are going to go, oh my God, I shouldn't fight in front of my children. I should fight. What do I do? Just be you. And this came from my Zen teacher, Sherry Huber, because a woman asked her, she said, Sherry, I'm so messed up now. If I do this, I'm going to mess my kids up. If I do this, I'm going to mess up my kids. What do I do? And she looked at the woman and she just smiled. She said, honey, you're going to screw up your kids no matter what you do. So just do it in the way that's most convenient to you. And trust that they're going to be able to work it out. See, so Joe, what that gives the courage and confidence that even if you do mess up and you have a fight in front of the girls, but they see that you're able to work through it, that's gonna teach them that, okay, making mistakes is okay as long as you're willing to work through it. See, when my wife would get upset at me, I'd shut down,
100%.
which would get her more upset. And the more upset she'd get, the more I'd shut down until I'd walk away. That's not healthy for a relationship. But that's what I had kind of grew up knowing, is that this must be the way you handle it. And I didn't even know why I was doing it until I did the introspection. So I know I kind of jumped in there and coaching you.
It's okay. I completely agree. You know, like everything, it's ebbs and flows. It's a balance in life. Like, for example, my wife won't mind me saying, because we were very open and transparent. But in my wife's ex-marriage, they never fought, period. And we fight. and she says, honey, it's okay. It's because we're passionate. We love each other. There's that passion there. But we always make up, and we always know we love the children, and we bring it back to the children all the time. If there happens to be a big blow up, which isn't too often, but it has happened.
That's relationships. That's marriage.
Yeah, that's real life. And they know that we're passionate. I mean, I squeeze her, I hug her, I give her a big kiss and a dip right in front of the kids. The kids laugh and they chuckle and they giggle. You know, so I was just saying that for me, at my stage of life right now, everything I do, I'm highly cognizant of the impact to the children. I just started, I wish I had her book right now. I just started a Happy Money book for my 9-year-old daughter. And we're going through the things that I love to do. And then we're going to convert that into making money and setting goals. And we're just going through that. And we called it, I asked her, what do you want to call it? Happy Money or Dream Money? She said, Happy Money. Because she's now wanting to know and get involved in making some money for herself. But everything's about the family, and I'm just loving it.
Which is why you're glowing. Which is why you are exuding the brilliance of happiness that you have in your life, because you are on that journey, and you've got this passion, you've got this mission, you've got this goal, which is what that last video was about. What is it that juices you up? What is it that gets you excited? Because then when the days are hard, you still get up. Yeah,
absolutely.
Very evident.
Here's a question. What's the difference between happiness and contentment? Juan asks.
The difference to me, that's the affecting, infecting. Contentment is where you are mediocre, you're content. But happiness is when you're going, what? There's something bigger. And not out of ego that there's something bigger, but out of I'm always willing to grow. I'm always willing to learn. I want to know what the next step is for me. That's happiness. Because the moment you get into contentment, you're now in that mediocre stage, which now means you'll just become a boring everyday.
I would even say it's like the difference between love and indifference. They're the opposite.
Right.
So I think if you're content, you're definitely not happy.
Right.
So I've got your clues next as clue number 6, accountability. We already talked about it.
Critical.
Yeah, critical.
It's
you didn't talk about it. I did.
Yeah. You want to have. I have accountability partners, and accountability works different for different people, Joe. There's some people that they're going, don't put me on a call once a week. That'll make me implode because and one of my business partners, that's him. He says, Robert, that doesn't work for me. I'm going to tell you right now. What works for him is, let me state a goal to you that I'm going to accomplish, and either I do it or I don't. And you're there to, not to sit there and go, how's it going? How's it going? How's it going? You're there that if I'm struggling and I want to call you and say I'm having a frustration, you're there to be the sounding board, not to fix it, but just to be the sounding board. And I'm like, done. And his one was, he says, I'm tired of being the fattest guy in the room. He says, so my goal is I'm going to release in the next 4 months, I'm going to release at least 16, 17 pounds so I can get under 200. And I said, so how can I support? He said, just if I'm having a tough time, let me message you. Let's get on a call. I'm like, done. And because he made the statement and he knows I'm supporting him the way he needs to be supported, he's down 13 pounds and he's still got a month and a half before his time frame of when he said he'd do it. And he's loving it. So accountability comes in all different formats And that's the cool thing, Joe. And this is why understanding you have to understand what works for you. I'm a guy that, yes, if someone's holding me accountable and we're on a weekly call, a lot of the times the 11th hour, I committed, I'm going to do this week. I get it done. That's what works for me. But that doesn't work for everybody. Don't cookie cutter it. So when you understand who you are, when you do the work on you, you'll be able to sit there in your own confidence and say, hey, here's how my accountability works best for me. Here's what I ask of you. And you make a request.
Mm-hmm. Listen, guys, accountability is so huge. I want to just kind of put it out there. If you're watching this live stream now, or if it's in the replay, if you want an accountability partner, I'm happy to facilitate. So put a comment below, and all of yous that indicate you want an accountability partner, I'm happy to, if you're okay with it, share your contact information via email. So email us at info@matchguaranty, spelled with y.com, if you want accountability, and I'll try to hook you guys up. Okay.
And to make your job easier, Joe, here's what I'd also ask them to do. In that email, indicate whether they want light, medium, or strong accountability. Ooh. So now you're not hooking someone up who wants strong accountability with someone who's saying, I just need occasional, because that won't last. They'll get off the call soon. They won't hold each other. So you can match strong to strong, medium to medium, light to light. I'd recommend that.
Oh, that's awesome. And please note in comment right now, if you're live, if you want an accountability partner. Okay, maybe write your email address in there. That's awesome. That's a great add-on, Robert. Thank you. So the last one, your clue number 7, mentorship. The ultimate accountability, right? Mentorship.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get into your incredible gift that you're offering my viewers so generously. So you guys that have hung on to the end, like I promised you at the beginning, you're going to get a huge bonus, and you're going to get the ability to change your life for the better radically now with Robert.
Yeah.
So mentorship.
Yeah, mentorship. And look, my book, Success Left a Clue, this one here, 6 Life-Changing Habits. Habit number 2 is find a mentor, someone to model. We had mentioned this earlier. But this comes in 2 forms, 2 parts. Because again, unless you're like an Elon Musk or a Jeff Bezos, chances are whatever you want to do, someone's done it before you. And so find out who they are and find out how to work with them. Now, you've got to be creative with this, Joe, plain and simple, because people go, well, Robert, some of the greatest mentors aren't even around anymore. They're not alive. Well, did they write a book? Did they design a training? You can find a way to be able to learn. Let's take T. Harv Eker, a mentor to both you and I. I had actually asked him the one day, I got up the courage and said, Harv, I want to be a trainer. I want to do what you do. Would you mentor me? And he thought about it for a couple minutes, looked at me, and he said, no. He says, A, I don't have time for one-on-one mentoring. And B, if I did, it'd probably cost you about $1 million. And Joe, I was pissed. I was pissed at him. I'm like, because by this point, my wife and I had been volunteering for about 2 years at every event he did, at our own expense, in our own time, up to 38 events a year. And I'm like, how dare he say, who the hell? And I just went off, cordial to him, okay, thank you. And then as soon as my wife and I are alone, I just went off. And I'm pissed. I'm just up and down. And my wife, again, just listening, letting me vent, because she knew not to fix it, just to let me get the energy out. I'm done. And then she looks at me. She goes, are you done? I'm like, what do you mean am I done? She goes, you're obviously not done. Get more out. I got more out. And then she's like, are you done? I said, yeah, I'm done. I said, we're never volunteering again. And she said, first of all, wrong answer. I'm like, what do you mean wrong answer?
Smart wife.
She goes, if I understand this correctly, you asked him a question, he spoke his truth, and you can't handle his truth. Yeah, but she goes, stop. She goes, is there more than one way to be mentored by him? Maybe. Look, gentlemen, I'm not the brightest bulb this is why I'm aerodynamic, so I can get some brightness going from the glare of the lights, but I'm not the brightest bulb. And she said, when we're volunteering, do you not learn a lot? And I'm like, hell yeah. She goes, then we volunteer more. Why would we quit how you're being mentored already? We volunteer more so you can watch them more, you can model. And that's what got me on stage for the first time, Joe, is all of a sudden he said he could not ignore me anymore. I was always being there of service because I didn't have an ulterior motive. And because of that, I got put on stage for 5 minutes to help him out. And that's why I say 5 minutes can change your life. And next thing you know, I'm doing warm-ups for him. I'm doing data with him. And then I become his very first protege and the first person do a training. And I saved myself $1 million. Did it take some hard work on my part? Yes. Did it take some investment on my side? Yes. But what it saved me and the position it put me in, today I've now impacted over 500,000 people in live trainings. Don't even think about now, Joe, those 100 or 500,000 people. What about how they've gone into their lives and affected the people in their life who affect people? So I've actually impacted millions of lives and I don't even know who they are. And the best part is that I don't need to know because I'm living my passion. And it started with mentorship. So that's the first side of the mentorship. The second side is asking yourself, who can I be a mentor to? See, it's not once I get successful, then I'll mentor. No, right now. So you're mentoring to 2 little girls right now, daily. So it's about, and I know some of your listeners go, yeah, but again, Robert, Joe, I haven't accomplished what you guys have accomplished. I'm not where you're at, or I haven't done this. No, but you've done what you've done. And what have you struggled with that you've overcome? That may be the greatest mentorship you can give, is helping other people get through maybe something you've overcome yourself, a pain, a setback, a hurt, divorce. How do I get through divorce? One step at a time, and then you show others how to do the same thing. So that's how important mentorship is.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Let's take a look at the poll right now, and then I would love to give you my spin on mentorship. So the poll question and the results right now. Are you completely living the life you desire and you deserve right now? And I asked everybody to be honest with yourself. And I believe everybody has, because the results are 76% of those that have polled have said, no, I'm not happy with my life right now. And kudos to you for being honest, because change begins with being honest with ourselves, right? And I think this final point, my personal opinion, point 7, is the granddaddy of all change, is the granddaddy clue. If you're sick and tired of your life right now and you want something new, you want something different, you want to be happy, this is the key. To me, mentorship is forced change, is brute. I mean, great, the law of attraction and The Secret, it's fantastic. Visualization, dream boards, it's all amazing stuff. That said, without some kind of force that's going to push you in, outside your comfort zone to help you become uncomfortable or comfortable being uncomfortable, I don't know that we're going to change. I'll share my quick story. When I was just out of engineering university, there was no jobs to be had in the early 90s. I got 101 phone letters. And I took a course on how to invest in real estate with no money down. And I remember the instructor, Raymond Aaron. You know Raymond. And anyway, long story short, I came out, I tried to do it, and I fell flat on my face. And I was accused of committing or trying to commit mortgage fraud. And that's not good. That's not good. So I went to see a lawyer, and coincidentally, I went and saw a gentleman by the name of Volmer Nordman in New Westminster. I didn't know it, but he was a very, very rich man. And he said, yeah, you can't do it this way, Joseph. This is illegal. Actually, you need to do it like this. And I understood later this guy was very rich. He really knew his stuff. And I said, Volmer, I would love to buy you lunch. And guess what? He said yes. I asked him what his favorite restaurant was. And we went for lunch for 2.5 hours. I sat down. He drank a whole bottle of red vino, his favorite. And for, I think it was like $75 at the time, which was very expensive at the time in the early 90s. But I got to pick his brain. And I found out later he was nearly a billionaire. And he owned properties and malls and everything all over British Columbia. And so he became unknowingly my mentor, and I would I would pay for his time, billable hours, but I would still take him out for lunch whenever I could.
Mm-hmm.
So he was my first mentor. And I learned, guess what? How to buy real estate in Canada with no money down the legal way, because a lawyer, wealthy lawyer, taught that. And I understood from this point that mentorship was the most powerful thing I could do. I could learn from somebody that's been there, done that.
Yeah.
And that's my story.
Yeah, and you want to show how powerful that is. A name that you brought up, Raymond Aaron. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So little known fact, Raymond Aaron, pushing out of his comfort zone, was the person that forced T. Harv Eker out of retirement to help him to do a training that he needed help with. Had Raymond Aaron, who was mentoring Harv, not done that, Harv wouldn't have started his training company back up, which meant he wouldn't have mentored all the people he did, including myself, which means I wouldn't have got to do what I do and the people I've impacted. Remember that affecting people with your greatness thing.
Uh-huh.
So that's where the who can you mentor comes from. So Raymond Aaron mentored Harv mentored me. I've now mentored hundreds of thousands of people around the world. You don't know where your journey's going to go.
Yeah, we're all connected. It's all the web of life, and we all, so without Raymond, I wouldn't have become financially free in my early 30s as well, and then gone on to lose it all, but that's another story. And then to come back, finding another passion.
Yep.
One passion goes, another comes. Actually, the way I experienced the matchmaking passion came for me living in Ukraine, and concurrently at the same time, when I became passionate about this, my real estate passion, just blew my mind, left. It just left, and I couldn't believe it, because I thought that would be with me till my dying day. And then it was replaced by the passion to help couples find each other, and this big opportunity in this ugly industry that I'm in now. So yeah, mentorship. So on that note, Robert, what do you have for my viewers today? So generously, please do tell.
I'm glad you asked. In 2017, we released my first book, which is Success Left a Clue. And this is an international bestseller. And what I love to do is every one of your viewers, whether you're on the live with us now or you're watching the replay, if they go to robertriopel.com, they're going to be able to download the entire digital copy of this book as our gift to them. Now, the thing I want people to understand is this is not a book that you get, put on the shelf, make it shelf help. This is actually step number 3, you have to take action. So I wrote this as an instructional manual. There's action steps all the way through, meaning that when you download the digital copy, what you'll do is I want you to go through. And being quirky the way I am, I even write in here, hey, did you do the last action? If not, stop reading right now, go back and do the action. So Joe, that's the caveat for this. So that's the beginning part. I think that's what you're asking for. And do you want me to go into the second part of what they get to do when they download the digital copy?
Yes, please. I think that's where it gets really sweet.
Yes. So, and you'll go to Robert Riopel, just my name, RobertRiopel.com, and you're going to be able to download it. I'm in the give back phase of my life right now, Joe.
In comments right now, go. And guys, trust me, you want to go now, because as everything in life, opportunity is limited, and there's a limited number of people he's willing to help. So go now, robertriopel.com.
And because of my give back phase, here's what I'm doing is I am actually also doing what I call my personalized success roadmap, meaning people are able to have a one-on-one call with me. I'm not selling you anything. I'm there to be of service to you. And normally I'm doing 20 minutes, but Joe asked me for his people if I would do it to 30 minutes. Wow, increasing by 50%, which, my time is very, very valuable, just like yours. And so there's a questionnaire that you'll fill out. There's an assessment that you'll take, because when I get on the call with you, I take that time and I laser in on you. Where are you struggling? What is it that can help you go to the next step? What do we need to do to make the adjustments? And so what we're doing, Joe, is when they book in the time, they download the book and they get on my calendar, and it goes very, very quickly. The people that do this, and this is why the people that are watching live, they have a little bit of an advantage over the people watching the replay, but people watching the replay, all of you will get at least 20 minutes with me, as long as my calendar handles it. I only do so many a week. So the quicker you book in, the better. if you book in this time with me, and this is an action step, look, I help people change their lives in 20 minutes. Imagine what I can do in 30 minutes. Imagine what I could do by being on that call. But if you don't take the action, it won't change. In that time, because my time and your time is very, very valuable, if I see that you booked in a time and you don't fill in the questionnaire fully, just one word answers, you don't fill in at all, and you don't do the assessment, I'll cancel the call. Because I don't have time if you're not going to put the work in. My time's not going to work for you. So that's a caveat I'm going to put on that as well. And then I think what we're going to do for the first 20 people, Joe, here's something extra I'm going to kick in. Every month, I do a monthly mastermind call. And what I'm going to do is I have my students from around the world, and I bring on special guests, and we just do a 90-minute to 2-hour call of masterminding, great value, hot seats, all of that. This is something that I do for a year. People pay $3,000 to be part of it. For your people, the first 20, again, we're people that are on live, you're going to have the first opportunity for this. You're going to put in match guarantee when you book your time in with me. So I know, because I don't do this for anybody else. So I know that you came from Joe's group, match guarantee. You've got to put that in your information. You're going to actually get to attend 3 of those masterminds, live trainings as my guest, and you'll be able to come on to the training so that you can be part of that mastermind experience. So that's the thing I'm doing, especially for you.
Can I be the first, Robert? Can I be the first?
There you go.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. So that means 19 left.
19 left. Yeah, I'm so there. You know, Robert, I belong to Win University. You know what that is. That was a high-level mastermind. I was a member for, I think, 3 years, but that was $20,000 a year a pop.
Yeah.
And I made some of my highest level connections that we're still friends with today. You know, we can not talk for 4 or 5 years, but reach out. And, you know, it's true. You know, success is a team sport. And it's about the contact. It's about accountability, sure, but it's also about the level of developed people you will meet in these mastermind groups. They're all committed to their success and helping you. And they're your cheerleader. They're not some toxic person that is, you know, your nemesis and not happy with your progress and your success, which is huge.
Yeah. And you don't know what you don't know. And it's always mind-blowing who you meet that has experience and expertise in something maybe you don't. So when collaborations come together, guess what happens? You also, nth degree, go back to, again, you know, Dr. Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. He didn't invent mastermind, but he did coin the phrase mastermind in his book in 1927. And then he'd actually coined it earlier, but it wasn't until he did Think and Grow Rich that he expounded really why it works, how to go a whole new level with it. And I live my life by the masterminds and the people I meet. And I have people that are broke, and I have multi-millionaires. And the one thing we all have in common is we can learn from each other. And so the collaborations, the connections, the joint ventures, the friendships that happen. And, you know, my mastermind calls, I have on average people from 9+ countries on them. And so now you talk about global experience. So we have a lot of fun with those.
Absolutely. Just a quick video to give you guys something to think about.
They looked at the most successful men and women of the world, and they found that they had like 7-8 things in common.
And guess what the number one was, guys? Yes, they had capital M. So, hey, if it ain't broke, why try to fix it? Mentorship is the proven path to everyone's success. So, Robert, thank you very much for making this available, your mastermind group to 19? Yeah, three sessions, right?
3 of the, because I'm doing a challenge this month. We're not doing a mastermind call this month, but so July, August, September, you will be, and it's the last Friday of every month, so that you know when it's going to be. But as soon as I know who the 20 people are, that again, they have to make sure they put match guarantee, because I don't do this for anybody, let alone my 20 minutes up to 30 minutes. Joe, dude, you obviously mentored how to, you know, negotiate somehow from someone, but no, and it's just because you and I love to assist people in any way we can. for me, it's a no-brainer to extend this to people, because if we can help people go to another level with what you're doing with the relationships and helping them find great matches with amazing women, that's going to change their life. If I can help them be the better person so they don't give up on themselves, they don't quit, so that they commit to their own happiness, their own success, that to me becomes a great match guarantee right there.
Absolutely. Thanks again, Robert. Yeah, because a lot of guys watching, they are on this journey of educating themselves to find a Slavic wife, but a lot of you guys are watching perpetually, which is great, but without action, it ain't gonna get you, your beautiful wife, your life partner that you're looking for. And so I have been clawing at how to help all guys, right? And Robert came to mind. We're immigrating back to Canada soon. We'll be moving to Victoria. And I thought of my good buddy, Robert. So thank you for helping all my viewers here. I know it's going to be a great help. And I will see you guys in the Mastermind. So what else did I want to say? As a final note, I think that was it. Robert, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure, doing this with you and getting to spend time with you. I just want to also, that was the other point. Guys, just so you know, I asked Robert how much to work with you, because Robert was going to mentor me to do a few things that he's brilliant at before. And I just said, what's your hourly rate? So just so you guys know, it's $1,000 an hour. So 30 minutes with Robert, it's a definite $500 value. And that's on the light side. It's the result that you're going to get if you work with Robert that is the true payback. Just like the result with us. Okay. Yes, we're $10,000 for a matchmaking fee, but it's a lifetime. Unlimited dating, unlimited coaching until you walk down the aisle, right? So it's that result that guys hire us for. They find their beautiful wife in the shortest time possible. And same with Robert. It's the result that you're going to get, which is transforming your life. That is the, precious and priceless value you're going to get. So yeah, go to Robert Riopel, .com and sign up. And you'll be well on your way. You're in great hands. I wanted to also say, Robert, I didn't get a chance to say, is that of all the trainers I've had in about my $200,000 education, it's about what it adds up to, according to my accountant that was shocked. And it's not very tax deductible by CRA laws. It was another unfortunate truism, but I tried, but they declined. But I want to say, of all the trainers I've had, Robert, one thing I absolutely love and adore about you is that you are true to your core values, number one. And if it doesn't fit with your core values, which I must say are on the top of Everest, your core values, then you don't do it, you don't say it, you don't preach it, you don't condone it, and I can always count on that. I can take it to the bank. And I just want to say this is my big recommendation for you guys, that wanting somebody to learn from somebody that is truly in integrity all the way. You're looking at him right now. So thank you, Robert.
Thank you, my pleasure. And thank you for having me on your call. If we can even help one person, and that's how I would say I would finish off, is when I decided to become a trainer, it wasn't, I want to help hundreds of thousands of people. I want to do hundreds of millions of dollars in sales. It was, if I could even help one person do what my wife and I had been able to do, deepen debt to financial freedom and make it all worthwhile. And because I took that first step, today I've been able to live the life I've absolutely loved. And because it started with one. So what is your dream, and how do you break it down into one step? What's that first step? Take it. And if I can assist on that journey, more than happy and feel blessed to do that.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you. On that note, here's Robert Riopel. See you next time, buddy.
What's stopping you? Are you too tired? Didn't get enough sleep? Don't have enough energy? Don't have enough time? Is that what's stopping you right now? Don't have enough money? Is that the thing? Or is the thing that's stopping you, you?
Excuses sound best to the person that's making them up. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Get off the pity potty. Wake your ass up. Awaken the beast inside. It's game on. It's go season. It's time for you to take advantage of the access and the resources that you have. If you want it, go get it.
Recognize the excuses are not valid. They're conjured up, they're fabricated, they're lies. And how do you stop the lies? You stop the lies with the truth. And the truth is, you have time. You have the skill, you have the knowledge and the support and the willpower and the discipline to get it done.
The fruit of everything good in life begins with a challenge. Everything is uphill that's worthwhile. And it's not going to come to you, and it's not going to fall in your lap, and it's not going to be something that, oh my God, it just was so simple. It's always going to be difficult.
If you want it, you gotta go get it.
This is your chance. This is your shot. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your place. This is your opportunity.
This is my time. This is my moment. Tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. Ain't no such thing as tomorrow. We only got today. It's your dream. If you wanted to have it, get your butt up and make it happen. If you wanted to have it, rise and grind.
You still got work to do.